Well,
Friday night, 11:07 Eastern Standard Time. We're a little late today. We do appreciate everybody joining us here on Smack Talk on the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. So, what do y'all want to talk about on tonight's episode here on the Sportskeeda Wrestling Twitter, YouTube, Facebook?
Well, let's talk about. Hey, I tell you what. Why don't we talk about the big elephant in the room? Let's start it off with that. While it's fresh.
I know. I'm growing my hair out. It's a different look. I know. Yeah. Growing my hair out to try to donate it. So yeah, it's a bit of a different look. I'm trying to get through the days right now.
How old are you, Rick?
How old am I? 34. Yeah. 34. Still got it's all there. It's still all there.
Yeah, mine is too. I'm twice your age.
I'm sorry for you.
It's great here. So
do appreciate everybody in the comment section already. Ozzy and Andy and Lisa and Steven and Ricky and Safet and Daniel. Yeah, we appreciate all you guys.
Sam and
Gene. Ozzy actually giving me a compliment. I appreciate that. Safet asking, is Sasha Banks gone from WWE, or he's saying that is a statement? We'll get there. Do you guys remember when like Jeff Hardy was the biggest story of the week for all of about 8 seconds? Yeah. Well, apparently WWE said, hold my beer. And this is, we're now, a couple of days removed from the bombshell Wall Street Journal report that Vince McMahon is under investigation by his own board of directors for allegedly paying $3 million in hush money to cover up an affair with a 41-year-old paralegal. Sid, me and you have talked about this on some other channels, I do believe. We have talked about
age have to do with it.
Oh, 4 years. 4 years younger than his own daughter. I'm just throwing it out there, Dutch. Just throwing that out there.
If he was 25, would you say 41-year-old a fair-y person?
Yes, it's a fact. All I'm doing is stating facts. Anyway, I do believe Sid and I have given our thoughts on this on another network, I do believe. So, Dutch, your thoughts on the Wall Street Journal report and everything that dropped this week?
Well,
people want to know.
Seriously, it took me by surprise. But if you go back and you look at it, it started in April, but I think it started before then. Apparently, this woman, whoever she is, heretofore unnamed, let's call her Betty. Let's call the hell up Betty. Signed an NDA, non-disclosure agreement, and nothing was supposed to be said about it. But it was. What is lost in this whole thing is that she's in violation of her own NDA.
How do we know that?
Well, it got leaked out.
Who said it was her?
Nobody.
See, the interesting thing to me about this, Dutch, is this story was leaked to the Wall Street Journal.
Absolutely.
The Wall Street Journal.
That leads me to my next conspiracy theory. I think it was leaked within WWE. I think they leaked it.
I think somebody on the board leaked it. Or somebody who may stand to make some financial gain. Because the other interesting part about this is like 2 hours before that Wall Street Journal report was leaked, mysteriously $2.1 million worth of WWE stock was sold on the market. Like, there's a lot.
Who sold it?
That I'm not sure, to be completely honest with you.
Oh, so you don't know. But it was. But stock today, it dropped 3%.
Yeah.
I thought it would have dropped more, but it didn't. So does Vince own 80% of the stock?
No. He owns a third of the stock, but he controls 80% of the company. I don't know how that works. I'm not smart enough to figure that out.
Either. That's confusing me. I thought it was 80% of the voting shares.
Yeah, I think that is the case, yes. But I think as far as like the overall company, he owns about a third because it is a publicly traded company.
Okay, let's break this down. When did Shane leave?
January. Was it February? Right, it was right after the Royal Rumble, so it was early February.
And they used as an excuse they didn't like his Royal Rumble something or whatever it was.
There was an alleged fight or like argument at the Royal Rumble about some ideas that he was the fall guy for a terrible Royal Rumble pay-per-view.
Now, Nick Khan was in charge then, and Vince didn't overrule him. No. So
apparently it was Vince McMahon that made the decision.
And then this investigation began quietly, probably back in February, let me say. I'm guessing.
It was April.
Yeah, but that's when they released it, didn't they?
That's when they started the investigation, but the emails to the company started between like February and March.
And then when did Stephanie leave?
May. It was only
May
like 3
19th.
weeks ago. Yeah, it was only like 3 weeks ago. Hope you enjoyed your time off. An indefinite leave of absence apparently is only 3 weeks long. Because that's the other big news for those who didn't hear, is that was just the announcement of the investigation. Then the bombshell came out very quietly, but everybody picked it up real damn quick. About 7:30 this morning, they put out a statement on the corporate website for WWE that Vince McMahon was actually stepping down or stepping back as the CEO of the company as the investigation was ongoing, and that Stephanie would be taking over as the chairwoman for the entirety of the investigation. Vince, by the way, saying in that statement that he will accept the board's findings, whatever they may be. That was the surprising part about all of this.
And then the show
voluntarily left the chair. I thought he would have had to have been drug away kicking and screaming, SP3.
I mean, 100% agree.
Go ahead, Sid. Go ahead. What'd you say?
No, I was going to say I 100% agree. I thought it would take a lot to even have Vince McMahon decide to step down, even if it's for a brief amount of time. He still holds his position as the head of creative. That's why he was on SmackDown tonight. So he's still in charge of that end. But the business-wise, it's very strange because when Stephanie stepped away, the company decided to bury her on the way out. And boy, oh boy, did that age like breast milk out in the sun. And
Jesus Christ.
Now Stephanie McMahon is back, and she is the interim CEO and chairwoman of the company, which is a great move in my eyes by WWE, because you have a whole scandal that involves Vince McMahon as well as John Laurinaitis mistreating a female employee, and you just empowered a female. So optics wise, this was the best and pretty much the only decision that WWE could have made here.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it doesn't mean a whole lot, because obviously Vince is still going to have his fingerprints all over the product. Case in point, like we saw tonight. If you had any questions about whether or not Vince McMahon was still in control of WWE, case in point, tonight's SmackDown, but we will get there. Dutch, how surprised were you with Vince McMahon actually stepping away, keeping the creative control? What do you think this means in the whole grand scheme of things?
I think it's camouflage. That's what I think. I think he has to step away. He has to announce he's stepping away. And then let me just get to this. When he came out tonight, and I thought, what if he just came out there to some song and he did his walk to the ring? That's exactly what he did. I said, what the hell? And I thought he was going to go in there, and all he did was welcome the crowd. We were in Minneapolis, and welcome to SmackDown. It was less than a minute, and he got out. But I think even that short appearance on SmackDown said more than what he actually said, was that I'm going to fight, and I'm still here, and you're not running me off. I think he's going to fight it.
Oh, of course he is. He ain't giving up. He ain't giving up his baby that easily. But yeah, to me, Sid, I think this was all about sending a pretty clear message. It's business as usual, and I'm not going anywhere. It was his Wolf of Wall Street moment. He just couldn't scream, "I'm effing leaving." He just couldn't do that. This is all this was.
Okay, I'll be the one to say it. Minneapolis, I'm disappointed in all of y'all. I saw some of these fans kind of doing this whole song and dance, singing along to No Chance in Hell, doing the whole this like really. Really, if this was in New York, what New York would have chanted, how New York would have responded. Come on. I was disappointed in Minneapolis,
I
but
think
yeah,
honestly, there were some fans.
this was a show of power.
Real quick, SP3. There were some fans who were doing that, but the camera was finding those people. All right, and I'm willing to bet there are some people out there who don't watch the news. I'm willing to bet you there were people in that crowd who had no idea what kind of news dropped tonight or dropped this week. I guarantee you that. Plus, I can guarantee you WWE was piping in some crowd noise as well, because some tweets from some fans who were actually there were saying there was some chants that did not come out onto the air tonight. So I'm guaranteeing you there was some piped in crowd noise tonight.
Let me ask you something, guys. It was a private affair because he didn't let everybody know. But he's been separated from his wife, what, a year or two?
More like a decade or two.
More than a year or so?
No, I'm serious. Like I think what was Wrestling Observer who said that they're married, but they basically haven't been married for quite some time.
Okay. So what's the problem here other than he spent his own money and he didn't tell anybody?
Dated an employee, gave an employee a raise. Then there was that whole thing about passing her around like a toy to John Laurinaitis and then paying her off with $3 million to keep the story out of the papers.
Basically, it's a breach of their code of conduct. And
okay,
it is, yeah, they do. And it is using company. But I think you're focusing too much on the $3 million. The real thing in question is the employee was hired for $100,000 salary and then got a $200,000 salary after she started the affair with McMahon. That's the bigger thing, because that's using company money to pay someone you're in a relationship with.
And by the way, this was happening in April of 2021. When there were all the mass releases for the first time and everybody was getting the old budget cut, excuse, the budget cut excuse, while they were generating, larger profits than ever. So this was all going down. The other part of this that we haven't brought up yet is while the board has been doing their whole investigation, there were several other non-NDAs that came out with alleging misconduct against both McMahon and John Laurinaitis. So this is just the tip of the iceberg.
I had one of those NDAs too, but I can't publicly announce that yet. It was me and somebody else. So gotcha. I'm not bringing it up. I'm not saying nothing.
Max Caster had to sign an NDA too. We found that out tonight as well. But yeah, there's obviously a lot going on here. But I think case in point, you look at what's going to change in the immediate future, Dutch, it's not going to be much. Until Vince McMahon steps away from creative, it's going to be, again, business as usual.
I heard he was in gorilla position tonight, directing the show. He was right there.
Reports were he was a happy, smiley guy, just acting like everything was great before tonight. Why wouldn't he? He's been bulletproof for 30 damn years. Why wouldn't he think he's going to beat
Laurinaitis wasn't there?
That was the interesting thing is, nobody saw John Laurinaitis anywhere, at least an hour or so before the show. Who knows if he was actually there? There's a lot of reports that believe he's going to be the main fall guy in all of this. Say that again?
Well, even when I was there were a lot of stories floating around. But you don't know if they're true or not. I'm just saying there were stories floating around about a lot of stuff.
About Laurinaitis or?
I can't bring that up now. I signed that NDA.
I got you.
No, there was a lot of stories about a lot of things. So, and they were all included in there. So whether they're true or not, I don't know. It wasn't my business. So if it's not my business, I don't try to delve into it.
Well, that's fair.
You get bit in the ass like that.
Totally.
You can know too much for your own good. Another guy that hasn't been brought up was the guy they fired last year the head of talent relations, Carano.
Yeah.
I think he knows where a lot of bodies are buried too. Now,
Maybe
also
that's somebody the board will want to talk with.
This investigation is going to go back several years, I heard. And you know, there's a lot of divas that don't like those guys up there anyway, and they love to talk. So this story is far from over.
Oh, yeah, like I said,
it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Tip of the iceberg. Now, Dutch,
Okay,
you
what
did.
is- One
Dutch,
is the
do you
worst.
know where any of the bodies are at?
Do what now?
Do you know where any of the bodies were at?
Possibly could know.
He signed an NDA. He can't. He
Yeah,
can't.
I can tell you, see, quit delving. I'll have a court order that you can't even ask me the time of day. So,
Well, we have to tell you what time of day it is, so you know what time to come on this show every week.
but you never tell me. you hide stuff from me all the time. So, what is worst case scenario here?
The worst case scenario for us or for Vince McMahon?
Well, the worst case scenario for us is we all get fired. But
Oh no, that's not a worst case scenario. That means I wouldn't have to keep watching SmackDown every week. I wouldn't be contractually obligated to watch SmackDown every week.
So you didn't like SmackDown at all?
Hell no. Hell no.
Oh, stop it!
Tonight's show.
You're just
sucked.
mad at them tonight. That's all you are.
Tonight's show.
You're on your period.
Sucked.
You are, and you know tampons are out of stock at the store. I just thought I'd tell you that. So I don't know what you're going to use. Newspaper.
Sid, am I wrong here?
It was a one match show. I mean, I enjoyed the one match, so I guess I enjoyed the show.
This is great.
Oh, tonight sucked.
But
Dutch, you had a very interesting question though that I know you wanted to bring up before we dived into everything. You put this out on Twitter. You said we were going to talk about it. What was your question?
I forgot. Did you read it?
I did. I'll pull it up.
And you forgot it.
I just want to get the wording right. Jesus.
Okay.
Hold on.
So I did put it out on Twitter.
Yes, I know you did.
Yeah.
Hang on 2 seconds. I can't find it.
See?
Anyway, you
made it
basically you asked. All right, I'm
Yeah.
paraphrasing here because I can't actually find where it was.
Yeah.
Because you don't know how to tweet. But anyway, you asked, would the product be better on a regular basis?
Rick, I'm reporting you to the home office.
Go for it. Sounds good.
Harassment.
I don't care. I'm in a mood tonight. You asked, would WWE creative be better off if Vince McMahon was not in charge?
Yes.
That's what you asked. What is your answer to your own question?
It would change. And I see that even if he wasn't there, it would have to me, it would have to change for the better. It would have, because if that's Vince calling all those segments week after week after week after week, it's not good at all. And I don't think anybody can say it's good. So I think it would have to get better.
Robert says SmackDown was the best in years tonight. I thought
Well, the last match was the last match.
Last match was great. It was a great showing for Riddle. We all knew he was going to lose, but the last match was great. Yes. SP3, the answer to that question from you would be?
Yeah, of course. It would definitely improve with just about anybody in charge. I think Vince has lost his touch on the pulse of what the fans are looking for. Yep. And anyone stepping in would give it a fresh coat of paint. And we've seen this before when other people had more control of the writing and the storylines, whether it be Ryan Ward, whether it be Road Dogg, whether it be Triple H in NXT. We've always seen it. And, you know, him basically leaning on someone like Bruce Pritchard, who kind of just is a yes man and a well-known yes man. it's just Vince doing his still his same thing. I mean, you could tell Bruce, I respect everything he's accomplished. He's accomplished a lot of great things and great storylines. He was behind the whole Mega Powers implodes, but I was about 1 year old when that happened. So I mean, it's been 30 plus years since Bruce Pritchard has been involved with anything that was very creative. No, I won't say 30 years. He was involved with the Kane and Undertaker storyline. So that was what, almost 25 years ago. So,
25 years.
So he was
involved in it, and it doesn't mean you created it.
This is true. This is true. This is true. This is true.
So
the answer to that question is without a doubt 1,000,000% yes. And I saw so many people sitting here saying, "Oh well, it all depends on who they put in the chair." No, don't. It doesn't, because Vince and everybody backstage, they book for one person. They book for Vince. They book whatever they think is funny. They book whatever they feel is the right move to make. They book for themselves. They do not book for the audience. They have all these arbitrary rules, like beating the homegrown talent in their own, backyard, and this, that, and the other thing. And politics always plays a whole lot into it. And politics would probably play a lot into it, no matter who you put backstage, whether it's Triple H or Stephanie or whatever. Politics always gets into it. But he's out of touch, as Sid said. He's off base. He's out of ideas. He's out of ideas, and he's impatient, and he doesn't know how to properly build a roster anymore. And it's case in point what we saw tonight. What we saw tonight is case in point why Vince McMahon does not need to be in charge of creative anymore, because they have booked themselves into a corner to where two guys get hurt, and we got to break glass and call Brock Lesnar again and get Brock versus Roman for the 18th millionth damn time at SummerSlam. They already booked the match. No build, no nothing. We're 6 weeks out. Brock shows up, gives Roman one F5, and all of a sudden now we get a last man standing match in the main event of SummerSlam. And all I can think of is, thank God I get to beat traffic, because I ain't staying inside Nissan Stadium to watch this match again. The last one wasn't even that great. My eyes could not have rolled out of the back of my head. I look like the Undertaker.
Do the eye roll.
When Brock's damn music hit.
I want to see the eye roll. Sid's doing it. That's a great eye roll, Sid. That's great. I'm kind of agreeing with you, but they don't have anybody.
And that's their fault.
But we've been
that's
saying
what I'm saying. It's their fault.
Yes, it is. But you don't think Nick Khan has anything to do with that, cutting that roster down?
I mean, they do have people, though. They have people on the roster that would make a more interesting matchup. Seth Rollins could have turned babyface after the whole Hell in a Cell with Cody Rhodes, and would have been a great option to verse Roman Reigns. They could have done Kevin Owens. They could have done Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn has a whole storyline with the Bloodline, and they did want to go in that direction. They have guys that have proven themselves to be reliable and consistent workers, but Orton goes down, and that was who they wanted. Cody goes down. He's the guy they've been building as the top babyface. So they go back to old tried and true, and we are going to get the seventh one-on-one matchup between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. And it would have been ninth, because they were supposed to verse each other in the fall of 2018 before Roman got leukemia. And they were supposed to verse each other at day one this year on January 1st, but Roman got COVID. So it's the 7th, but only because they couldn't do the other 2 times to make it the 9th time they versed each other.
I mean, think about it this way, right? Like, WrestleMania 38 was supposed to be the culmination of this 5-year-long feud. That was supposed to be it. Roman washed his hands of Brock. He was done. One challenger later, and we're back to Brock. This was his first title defense since beating Brock at Mania, and then immediately we're back to Brock. And yes, I understand that Orton got hurt, and yes, I understand Cody got hurt, but you had other options. If you just actually tried, you could have set something up with AJ Styles. You could have set something up. It would have been very easy, as Sid said, to set something up with Seth Rollins. Or, you know what? How about the guy just 2 weeks ago, you literally had hold up a replica WWE championship like he was coming after the belt he just had in February. And no, instead of doing that, you have Bobby Lashley doing a damn pose off in a feud, I guess, over the United States Championship. What they do doesn't make any sense. It's fly by the seat of their pants every single solitary week. And I don't know, other than the crowd who popped in Minnesota, these casual fans who don't know a damn thing about this company or remember anything from 3 weeks ago. And that's why this stuff keeps happening. Because Dutch, as you said in the pre-show chat, he got a pop tonight. People lose their minds when Brock Lesnar shows up, and that's why they keep booking this crap.
He got a pop. One thing is because at least, by God, I haven't been seeing him every week for 2 months. That's another one. But if Orton had been ready, if he'd have stepped out then, because they would have booked it differently, I think Orton, and I predicted that, Orton would have been a great, great challenger to Roman Reigns.
That would have made sense.
That would have made sense. And like you said, even Seth Rollins. He would have made, even, I think Cody is too soon for Cody. But AJ, so they have guys. See, I never like to split anyway. I think you just weaken yourself when you do the split, I think. But they are options. But like you say, if you keep Vince in there, because his options are limited, and I don't guess he listens to anything. He don't want to hear it, and it's his company. So I don't know.
And I get part of the problem is Roman has been champion for so damn long. He's beaten everybody, right? Like he even said that tonight, there's nobody left. And I think that line is really how WWE feels. The only guy who's beaten him in the last 2 years is Seth Rollins. But again, that would have been a very, very simple and easy thing to do. But WWE decided to go even easier, SP3, and just give us Brock Lesnar again.
And it made no sense for Roman to say there's nobody left, and then the dude he just beat for these damn titles is the next guy. Like what? He said he was done. He said he was over with Brock Lesnar.
You can't make sense of wrestling. Sometimes it makes sense of its own, but you can't make sense of this.
I wish it did. I wish it did. I wish it would have just made some sense. Make some sense of this, please. Please, I beg of you, WWE. Just try to make sense. Like, but no, they are just going ahead with what works for them, not what works for the fans.
And look, and as Raju is bringing up in the chat, yes, Brock brings traffic again because he's an attraction. I don't have the issue with Brock Lesnar in WWE. I have the issue with how they book Brock Lesnar inside of WWE. Can we get Brock versus like anybody else? Like literally like anybody else? Like remember just back in January when he was wrestling Bobby Lashley and how all excited we were that Brock Lesnar was there. And then we go back to WrestleMania. It's like, oh, it's Brock and Roman again. Cool. Awesome. Can we just book him again? Why does he always have to be in the damn title picture? Every single time. He's the new Goldberg. He comes back and he's like, boom, here's a title feud. Boom, here's a title feud. Boom, here's a title feud. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of how they book him. Even babyface Brock isn't enough to what's left of this story? What's left? You have beaten this thing with a dead horse. Are you going to do another swerve with Paul Heyman? Like, I would not be surprised if we don't see these guys literally until like the week before the show. They're just going to both be off TV, and then a week, the go-home show, they'll have a face-to-face. Because why bother? You already booked the damn match.
They're going to do like how they did the WrestleMania build-up. One will be there 1 week, the other won't. Then the other will be there the next week, and the other won't. And then they'll do something face-to-face, and then we'll get to SummerSlam.
And they'll have some kind of like huge brawl to set up everything. And
you know, another thing they do, they take forever to bust the angle. Like with Sami Zayn, they're not going to do something. We know it's coming. Go ahead and do it, please.
Yeah. Hey, Roy, I like good wrestling. All right.
You don't give a crap. even with Shanky or whatever, what they call him, skyscraper Skanky or whatever.
Skyscraping Shanky.
And what's his face? By the time it gets there, you said, "Damn, you could have done that a month ago." I mean, they don't know when to pull the trigger, and they can't even load the gun. They load it, but they don't know if it's a shotgun. They don't snap it in place, so it gets frustrating watching it. Really, that's why I like old time wrestling. Because we used to bust like an angle like every week, and you never knew what was going to happen. But they've lost that. So Rick's mad. Look at him.
I'm just
Look at his.
Man, I'm just tired of the lazy booking. Is all it is. This is lazy. They had a layup with Seth Rollins, which actually could have been a really good story. I hope they add to this. I hope they figure out a way to add to this. Give me another. Put the money in the bank on Seth Rollins at this point and have him cash in again. At least that would be poetic. At least that would play off of something. But like Jesus, this is another one-on-one match. Give me literally anything. Literally anything else than another one-on-one match. I don't care. If we're gonna repeat stuff, at least repeat stuff that's good.
But that's still repeating stuff. I don't care. I don't want to see the same thing. I saw so many people like, oh, Seth can win Money in the Bank and then cash it in again. I'm like, no, I seen that. Anytime WWE does something more than once, it doesn't matter how great it was the first time. It's never that good the second time. So
that is true, Rick.
Look, I have said on multiple platforms at this point, I want Sami Zayn to win the Money in the Bank contract. And
I would prefer that.
I want Sami Zayn to cash in on Roman Reigns, but I don't know if if they can do that story in 6 weeks, because right now he's still like it. I don't know how they would have to rush it. All right. And as Dutch just alluded to, they don't rush any damn thing except for what they did tonight, which was, hey, 1 F5 and we got this match. I don't think they know what the hell they want to do. I don't think they've decided who's going to win the Money in the Bank. I think it would make a ton of sense to have Sami Zayn be the guy to win the briefcase and win the belt, but I don't even think he's going to qualify next week. I think they'll have Nakamura beat him.
I'll go with that because people would love that.
Yes, they would.
That son of a bitch is over.
And it would complete a huge babyface turn, which is something they desperately need on the roster.
And you could get, if Roman would beat up Sami Zayn, they would hate him. Because they give a shit about Sami. Because they like him and he busts his ass every time he goes out there. And they see, he got him here. When you can get the hearts, you got them. So I don't know what they're waiting on. I really don't.
The story I would love to see them tell, right, is Sami is trying to constantly get within the good graces of the bloodline. He's the honorary Uce and this, that, and the other thing. And he thinks he's in their good graces, but he's not really. He enters the Money in the Bank ladder match to win the contract, to squash it, right? He's going to sit on it, right? He's going to just let the contract expire and protect Roman Reigns' title reign as his way to earn his trust within the bloodline. But then there's got to be some kind of catalyst where Sami finally realizes like nothing he does is ever going to be good enough to get within their good graces. Whether it's he overhears a conversation, they do the whole Batista evolution angle again, some kind of variation of that, and Sami cashes in as a revenge angle, and you complete the babyface turn. Like, that's something in that vein I think would work really, really well, create some sympathy for Sami Zayn. The crowd, like you said, he's over with the crowd. They want him. They want to like him. They want that babyface turn. Something like that, I think, would work very well, but I don't think WWE would ever do that.
I think that Drew McIntyre is going to win Money in the Bank and call his shot at Cardiff. That's what I think is going to happen.
And at this point, he might win, which also, by the way, makes this Brock Lesnar match pointless because we know Roman's going to win. We know Roman's going to win again at SummerSlam. And at this point, what's the motivation to bring Brock back to do anything after that? You would have just lost like 3 straight matches to Roman Reigns at this point. What, are you going to have him come back and squash Ricochet again? Like, I don't know. I don't think you're thinking more than 2 feet in front of their faces right now.
You got me all discombobulated.
I got myself discombobulated.
Yeah, I can see.
All right, what did we not talk about that happened on
Yeah,
SmackDown?
those monthlies are bad, aren't they? Rick?
What?
Those
Shut up.
monthlies.
Hey, what do we think of Madcap and Corbin tonight? That was great, wasn't it?
Oh, that's tremendous.
Okay. Does a legit question for you, Dutch? Does a Baron Corbin Pat McAfee feud do anything for you? Because it definitely seemed like they were setting that up tonight.
No, they are setting it up. One match would do okay. That's it.
I like the idea of booking McAfee at like WrestleMania SummerSlam, like those big kind of setups, and if he can beat Theory, hell, beat Corbin. Like Theory's actually a guy they got plans for. They ain't doing nothing with Corbin. He's just the weekly punching bag at this point. I'll take more Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee's the biggest babyface you got on the whole damn show. You might as well book him accordingly, right? SP3.
Yeah, I just want to see that entrance again. The and in a big stadium.
I want to be there
again.
for that entrance.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. That's what I want to see.
Tennessee Titans cheerleaders with him this time.
That's what I want to see. If all his commentary and calling him bum ass Baron Corbin has led to this matchup, I'm down for that. They have history with each other from their NFL days, so this makes all the sense in the world. And this is an actual SummerSlam feud that I'm interested in, unlike Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns.
Gee, I think it's because it's new, right? And there's some certain entertainment aspect to this. I think there might be something to do with that. Were you guys more irritated or entertained by New Day versus Jinder and Shanky tonight?
I kind of like the finish, and that's about it. New Day, they actually get on my nerves a little bit.
New Day does?
Oh, yeah. I mean, people like them. They love them. Kids love them.
Sure.
I'm talking about me.
Oh, I get it. That's fine. Not everybody's going to be for everyone.
No, they're not. They're not intended for me.
I just want to say Xavier Woods is a smart man. No wonder he has a PhD, because he knew that Shanky's weakness was a dope beat. He just played a dope beat, and Shanky was getting jiggy with it.
One note, dope beat. That's all it took. I did find it hilarious tonight, SP3, that they played a Hulk Hogan flashback clip on this show tonight. I thought that was pretty interesting. Not only that, but beating Billy and Chuck in the month of June. I thought that was, just very, very tone deaf tonight. I'm just going to throw that out there. If you know, you know. Drew McIntyre and Sheamus are both in Money in the Bank. Who saw that one coming? This is something
all of us.
But they could have done this last week. Like, seriously, did it really take Adam Pearce a week to go, screw it, just put them both in there? We're short on time and short on people. Just put them both in. It was a fun segment, though, Dutch.
Was it?
The dancing?
No. McIntyre and Sheamus.
Oh, that was good. That was okay.
I just love Drew kicking his ass for no reason, even after he found out he was in the match.
No. I'm sick of it already.
Absolutely. Yeah, I didn't. I thought that segment was flat, and it wasn't really necessary. Why did they need to be in the ring? I didn't understand that. The only segment that was weirder than that was Vince McMahon coming out to introduce the show.
Look, anytime that Drew McIntyre is kicking somebody's ass, I'm going to consider it fun. But this is definitely one of those segments where it's like they held a meeting and it could have been an email, right? Like all you had to do was flash an email on the screen and said, "Hey, you're both in. Cool, done, moving on." Or you could have just done it last week in a backstage segment with Adam Pearce. I don't know why they had to carry this over into the next week. But either way, they're both in Money in the Bank. So is Raquel. She defeated Shayna Baszler tonight. I feel bad for Shayna Baszler, but hey, Raquel's in Money in the Bank. Hey, we get Aaliyah and Shotzi next week, Dutch.
What? Aaliyah
and Shotzi next week. Money in the Bank qualifier.
I'm watching. Anything that Aaliyah does, I'm there.
Well, of course you're watching.
I'm a huge Aaliyah fan.
So we had two things that
happened in NXT for 7 years and advanced like she has. Really has their pulse, their hand on the pulse of the business, really. So I got to watch her.
We had two things that irritated me after this match, and it was back-to-back promo segments. First was Max Dupri basically bitching at Adam Pearce, saying not everything was right for his fantastic boys. He started talking about juices and some other things. The segment was, what was it?
Titillation.
Titillation. Definitely dropped the titillation on there.
I think he's going to kiss. I think those two are going to kiss before it's over.
I agree with what SP3 said on Twitter. They don't know what the hell they want to do with this. They just started doing stuff, and they're already at a loss. They don't know who they want to put in this group. They are stalling. I hope they're stalling for something, but I got a feeling they're stalling for a big nuttin'. This has got Rowan Spider written all over it to me. They don't know what the hell they're doing with this.
It is dead on arrival. Hell, this is dead before arrival.
But like Dutch called this like 2 weeks ago. Dutch said this 2 weeks ago that this was dead on arrival. But Rick was optimistic about it, and I was agreeing with Dutch. And I said, like, they don't know what they doing. Dutch called this, and I agreed. And we're seeing 2 weeks later already. It's true. They don't know what they're doing here.
Terrible.
Unless Cesaro literally has travel issues, then otherwise this was totally utterly pointless. We had Ludwig Kaiser say that Gunther is going to bring prestige back to the Intercontinental Championship, and then they booked the IC title match for SmackDown and not Money in the Bank. Again, they put it on a guy that they actually give a shit about, and then didn't actually book him on the pay-per-view. So the streak apparently will continue. The last time the IC title match was on a pay-per-view was WrestleMania 37, the Nigerian drum fight that featured no drums. All right. I think that's everything for SmackDown tonight, except for the other big story that has not to be confirmed, but has kind of been confirmed, but not really. Dutch, any other week we would have spent 20 minutes talking about Sasha Banks reportedly getting out of her contract or being released or being no longer affiliated with WWE. When you hear that Sasha Banks, which has now been reported by multiple outlets, has been released from WWE, what is your reaction to that?
I don't know. I think they're going to miss her a lot.
I think they already do.
She was over, and I think there's more to that story too that we're not hearing. Of course, there's more to the story. They just don't all of a sudden get mad and go in there and to John Laurinaitis. Have you heard his name before?
Yeah, I've heard that name before.
Down and walk out. I don't know. So, but if she's not happy, I think it's the best thing for everybody, especially her, to move on.
Steven asking any latest about Naomi. Have not heard a peep about Naomi. SP3, this news dropped on both of us as we were doing a live show earlier this week on another outlet. Yeah, man, if you want to see our actual faces when this tweet came out, you can check my Twitter feed. It's on there. I made sure to screen grab both of them because they were absolutely priceless. But now we've got two different outlets saying that Sasha Banks is not going to be there. And here's the other thing that came out today. And for the love of God, I'm trying to remember the outlet. But WWE apparently believes that they can just replace Sasha Banks. They can clone Sasha Banks. They can put anybody in that Sasha Banks role. They'll be just fine without her. Your reaction to that?
The hubris of WWE is unlike anything I've ever seen in my life. Like, Sasha Banks is a once in a generation talent. She is, in my opinion, the greatest female in-ring performer that this company has ever had. She had classics with Bailey, with Charlotte, with Becky. Can be like, Natalya cut a whole promo saying she's done all his first evers. Sasha has more first evers than Natalya even, and Natalya's been there longer. And Sasha Banks is only 30 years old. So I don't think anyone is worried about what Sasha Banks, Mercedes, Vernado is going to do when she leaves WWE, because she's either going to show up on a director's set or she's going to show up in somebody else's promotion and bring a whole lot of eyes to it. So I think that the best move, like Dutch said, is to separate. If she's not happy, if she's going to be a disgruntled employee, like I said from the very beginning when this walkout story started, I hoped Sasha Banks did not come back, because that's the only way you can make an impact and really make a statement with walking out. You can't just walk out and come back. She did that before. It didn't work. And she found herself in the same position she was in 2019. So if this is the end of the story and we're just waiting on WWE to confirm it, one, I don't think they're going to confirm it, because outside of Bray Wyatt, they haven't confirmed a lot of releases in a while.
Literally hundreds.
Yeah, literally hundreds of releases. We've had to wait on Sean Ross Sapp confirming them and not WWE. So they don't do the wish you well on the future endeavors anymore. So one, I would say that. And two, no one has to worry about Mercedes. She's going to be perfectly fine.
Oh, no. Yeah, no. She's going to be absolutely fine no matter whether she shows up in AEW, whether she shows up in Hollywood, or whether she shows up ultimately in both. She's going to be fine.
Did Aaliyah leave?
No, she's going to be on the show next week.
Oh, good.
Look, WWE is doing a fantastic job of replacing Sasha Banks so far on SmackDown. They're outside of Ronda Rousey. They don't have a single female star on the current SmackDown roster that the audience is invested in.
No.
Because they don't know how to book the people they have. They have Raquel Rodriguez, who is this monster statuesque woman, and she's selling for 75% of her matches. Like, I understand she's in there with Shayna Baszler, but a woman that size should not be fighting from underneath like an underdog. So, and her smiling for 90% of her matches as well isn't working for me either. And then you got Lacey Evans, who the first comment she says on commentary is, and I was the first to be in the Money in the Bank, and she's a babyface. I'm like,
is she? I don't know.
I was like, she was cheering for Raquel. She definitely was cheering for Raquel. So I thought the whole point of this was to once again say, hey guys, just remember, Lacey's a babyface this week. And she did not come off like a babyface for like half of that commentary. So they don't know how to book the people that they already do have. You got Shotzi, who had a great performance last week. She wasn't on the show this week. She'll be on the show next week, and she'll be against Aaliyah. So
that's it.
I bet you she loses. I bet you they put Aaliyah in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Just, by the way, just so they can have her get injury replaced and have Charlotte or Bayley or somebody show up like that. I guarantee you that's going to have how they book it. You want to know how I know that? Because that's what they did the last time they did anything with Aaliyah. They put her in a match, and then they took her immediately right out of it. Ronald Curtis asking a question here on a super chat. Should WWE regret elevating Ronda over Sasha? Here's the thing. You can elevate more than one person at one time. So you could have done both. You could have elevated. You actually could have done what you did with Sasha and Naomi and then actually booked the women's tag team titles like they mattered.
Hey,
and we wouldn't be in this situation.
That was a $5 question, not $1.99. So.
I mean, to answer this question simply, I will say the same thing I've been echoing, and Rick's going to say I'm a broken record. You don't need to down another woman to big up another woman. Why does it always have to be Ronda versus Sasha, or WWE chose to elevate Ronda over Sasha? They didn't need to do any of that. They could have elevated them both. That's their issue. Don't put one woman against the other when we don't know if that is the main issue here. We only know WWE side of the story. Sasha's side of the story hasn't been put out there.
Paul asking, where is Bayley? Money in the Bank return, maybe? I don't know. She's still coming back from the injury.
A year?
Coming up on a year, yeah.
Wow.
So here's the other thing with Bayley. Bayley's really close with whom? Sasha Banks.
Sasha.
So in this crazy landscape that is the world of professional wrestling, until Bayley shows back up on WWE TV, I got a bad feeling in the pit of my stomach about where her relationship currently is with WWE Creative. That's not a report. That's me speculating. I got a ball in the pit of my stomach because the longer she's not there, the more worried I become. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm just saying. I would hope she would be at Money in the Bank. I think Charlotte is a lock to come back at Money in the Bank, personally, probably to replace Aaliyah. We are already 5 minutes over the show. We haven't even talked about Rampage tonight. So let's talk about Rampage, SP3. I was in a conversation argument about Brock Lesnar, so I missed the entire opening match. Was Mox and Dante Martin any good?
It was good. Moxley. It was a good match.
Thinking Moxley, they did some things that I just didn't much care for. Good match. I'm not saying it's not, but I think Moxley trying to. I don't think that Dante kid is good. He's really good. I think they did some things that showed Moxley kind of didn't respect him and all, but you need to respect your opponents, especially an opponent the caliber of Dante. And he beat him, and it actually was a good finish. What he put him in was a great finish. He tapped to it, but there were just some things in there. I think Moxley kind of didn't take him seriously enough. That's what I'm saying.
I think that was the kind of the story of the matchup and why Dante took a lot of the offense, definitely in the middle of the matchup when he was using his speed. He was hitting the high flying moves, that sliced bread, that avalanche sliced bread that he did, and almost got the 3 count on him. He got a couple of really good near falls on him, and I think it's pretty much a similar story trajectory that they use with Wheeler Yuta and Jon Moxley, where Yuta came close to beating him in a tag match. Then they had their one-on-one match and he got a little closer. Then they had the next match and Wheeler Yuta had his star-making performance. I'm hoping we could see the same thing for Dante Martin, and I liked Moxley kind of showing him respect at the end. He didn't give him the full handshake that Dante wanted at the beginning of the matchup, but he bowed to him. He showed respect, but they had to also establish that Jon Moxley's here, Dante's here, because Moxley is the guy.
What I did like about it, Dante Martin sold that hole.
Yeah.
When he made him tap, he laid there. And so that's when he come back and give the respect sign to him, which I liked. So
yeah, they had to establish that Moxley is just a step ahead of Dante Martin because he's the one going for the interim AEW World Championship, and he's been undefeated in 2022. That's how you build someone up for a championship matchup.
Wait, what's that? Build somebody up for a championship. What is that? I don't know what that is.
I know if you only watch wrestling from 8 to 10 on Friday, you wouldn't know.
I have no idea. Don't use anymore.
No, build somebody. I thought you just go away for 2 months after you lost, and then you come back and you attack the champion. I thought that's how you get title shots. You mean you actually wins and losses can actually matter, and you can actually build up somebody from your mid card ranks up and give them a shot in the upper card? That's what you're telling me? You can actually do that? That's the thing in wrestling?
See, the difference between AEW and WWE, you actually know their mid card in AEW. You know their roster.
Here's the thing, you know them in WWE too. If their name ain't Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar, guess what? They're in the mid card.
Yeah, and you see them every week. You know them too well. But with AEW, I mean, they can leave them off TV a couple of times, but you still know who they are. That's the way we used to book stuff.
Brian Dunlop saying Wheeler Yuta might be a future world AEW world champion. I would agree with you. I think he's got all the talent in the world, and clearly they are invested in him. A theme of the night appears to be rivalries we thought were over that aren't actually over. We're going to continue Team Taz and Swerve in Our Glory, apparently, even though they already teased that Lee and Swerve were going to split. So I guess we're just going to continue this for a little bit there, SP3.
I think it's just going to be one more matchup, and Swerve in Our Glory can beat Team Taz and finally defeat them and get back on the same page, or they'll lose again and they'll break up for good. Either way, the win or loss will matter. I think that's just basic storytelling.
Okay, fill me in here. Swerve and what's the guy's name?
Keith Lee.
They're at odds, correct?
Yeah, because Swerve eliminated Keith Lee in the Casino Battle Royale 2 weeks ago.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
I don't feel any chemistry there, but I got it.
Tell you where I love the chemistry is this combination of the Acclaimed and the Ass Boys. These guys cannot get enough TV time, in my opinion. They beat Roughing It tonight. All right, the match was, whatever. It was a time filler match, just getting some 6 dudes up on the screen. But man, SP3, I can't help but think where the Acclaim might be right now if Bones didn't get hurt, which sucks. But I love the fact that they're keeping him on television, even though he's hurt, and the Acclaim get it over and over every week.
They just get more popular and their pop gets bigger. They just have more charisma than a lot of the other tag teams in this division, and the Ass Boys are kind of just getting some of that charisma from Max Caster by just being around him. Them doing the little scissor in the middle of the ring was just hilarious. And yeah, his rap about he has an NDA. Great touch for the week.
Dutch, your thoughts on how, because we've seen AEW be very successful in this before. Britt Baker, her rise to superstardom was while she was out injured. WWE, you get injured more often than not. They take you off TV until you're ready to come back because they want that uber pop. AEW is able to build stars and get people over even when they're not in the damn wrestling ring.
Well, they concentrate on wrestling is what they do. I mean, everything is WWE is all entrance. It's all entrance and it's all showbiz. AEW, they just walk down to the ring and they start wrestling. That's why, actually, I think people want to actually see that. Britt Baker, she got over. They keep her over. And I think their ladies division, their women's division may not be as polished as some in WWE, but I think they're better to watch, I think. I'd rather watch AEW women than WWE women. I think they have better matches and they have more of them. Like you said, that they have no bench on the guy's side. They have no bench on the girl's side either.
They do on Raw. They don't on
But AEW does. Now, I don't watch Raw, so I'm not familiar with them.
Sure, that's fair.
But what rating did Raw do last week?
I know they did like a 1.8 million for the first hour, and then it fell down to they front loaded the show because they knew they were going up against the NBA finals. So I believe the last hour only did like maybe 1.3, 1.4, if I'm remembering correctly. I do know Dynamite, which was a shame because it was a really good show, got slaughtered by the NHL finals this week. So they only did like 700,000. So I think both companies are going to be happy. Well, one, basketball's done and over, and Sid's very happy that Golden State won. But I think
Dynamite's been kind of hanging around that 1 million mark, right?
Yeah, it's been about 950, close, hovering around 1 million. I think a couple times they go over it, but yeah, it's been roughly about 1 million for a while now, to be honest with you, unless they have to go up against NBA or NHL. So they'll be very happy when both sports are done.
Everything was down this week. I think Raw had been averaging like 1.8, 1.9, and they were down to 1.6 because of the NBA finals. So yeah, everything was hurt this week pretty much.
What'd you guys think of Jade, Cargill, and Willow Nightingale this evening?
They did one spot where they threw that Nightingale, Willowdale, what's her name?
Willow Nightingale.
Threw outside, beat the crap out of her. Even the other girl come in and beat the crap out of her on the outside. Threw in. Then she took over on Jade Cargill after she got beat up by both of them. I went, what the hell are they doing? I mean, it was only a little brief spot, but I like the Cargill girl. I like her.
I mean, just
a lot.
Oozes star power, obviously. I like Willow Nightingale as well. I think she's somebody that can connect with the audience. She has a lot of energy. She's busting her ass out on the indie scene. I would love SP3. I would love to see her get the graphic here sooner rather than later. They keep bringing her back, so they must like her.
Like I always say, a baby face in wrestling seems to be one of the hardest things, and there ain't too many people like Willow Nightingale that can just come out in front of the crowd and just smile and just exude baby face charisma. And she just does that. The theme song that they got for her was a nice little touch to bring that baby face, you know, over the top and put a smile on my face. She puts a smile on my face. She just has that bubbly personality that you want to rally behind her, despite knowing that Jade Cargill is going to kill her. And I thought Stokely Hathaway was great on commentary. Him name dropping the BET Awards.
Chef's kiss on that one. Jade did drop the double arm face buster tonight. I've not heard that thing called anything other than a pedigree in 30 years. So that made me laugh when Excalibur called it the double arm hook face buster on that one. But I did like the fact that she dropped the pedigree. I think that's a very good move for her to add to her arsenal. And she is adding more moves to her arsenal every week and continues to just get better and better and better. I think she has definitely graduated from the quote unquote green stage. So I don't want hear anybody calling her green anymore. She gets better every week. And yes, just exudes star power. SP3, I know
she is green. She's green like money.
Yes.
She's money.
Yes, absolutely. I know you have to be excited, SP3, with the announcement that we're getting for Forbidden Door, IWGP, and Ring of Honor tag titles on the line in a triple threat match. FTR, Jeff Cobb, Great O'Con, and Rapogni Vice. Triple threat match. FTR is going over big time, right?
Absolutely, gotta happen. They need that for this Forbidden Door, show. You gotta have somebody from one promotion take the title of the other promotion. So I like that they made this for the ROH and the IWGP tag team titles. This is a perfect opportunity for FTR to win here to set up the bigger match. After the Young Bucks became the 2-time AEW World Tag Team Champions on Dynamite, it's Young Bucks versus FTR. At All Out for all the gold that needs to happen.
I would love it. And FTR absolutely needs to win that. Dutch, what did you think of our big main event tonight, our last match of the evening after 3 hours of exhilarating television and Sting's big return to hit Kyle O'Reilly in the balls with a baseball bat?
I was jumping up and down. I just couldn't stay seated, really. I was so excited to see Sting, the baseball bat, and all that kind of stuff. So
balls.
Yeah, the balls. But I got to be honest, I didn't see all of it. I left to set this damn contraption up in here because I'm always late. So I got to start 5 minutes early on it. But the Darby Allin got the crap beat out of him most of that match, right?
Oh my God! I was like,
I see the move when he went high and the guy undercut him.
I understand that Sting is probably the headline here, but that match was an absolute. They beat the crap out of each other. Like Darby Allin with his suicide dive, just flinging his body outside the ring. Bobby Fish giving him dragon screws where he's hitting his head on the guardrail, like suplexes on the apron. This was a barn burner for a sprint. It was only like 10 minutes.
Yeah. Like Dutch said, Darby got his ass kicked in this match. Like, I was like transported back to high school tonight. And that's like a weird thing for me to say, but there was this scrawny kid named Jeff that I knew in high school that got his ass kicked all the damn time. Like every day, got thrown into the lockers and just got his ass beat. Darby Allin reminded me of Jeff tonight. Like he just got his ass beat, just this scrawny dude. But Darby actually fought back and he ended up getting the win. And I do love when he used the last.
Don't leave the story.
What
happened to Jeff?
He's married now with a fourth kid on the way, I believe. Yeah, so he's fine.
What finally happened? Did he fight back?
Oh, hell no. No.
So he continued. He's getting his ass beat today too.
Yeah, I didn't know Jeff had balls until he knocked up his wife. So that's
okay.
Yeah, there you go. Haven't talked to him in 10 years, by the way. So, anywho,
now I wish you hadn't finished the story.
I love Darby using the Last Supper. It's a very unique pin. I love that he can just kind of pull that out of nowhere and the match is over. And then we got Sting's big return and Kyle O'Reilly sold his ass off for Sting and that baseball bat tonight. Although very believable, if you get a baseball bat to the pills, you're probably going to look a whole lot like Kyle O'Reilly did tonight.
Let me ask you
You ever been low blowed with a baseball bat, Dutch?
Hell yeah. to do it all the time. I used to do it to myself.
When you were in Japan, right?
Oh yeah, well, I wasn't in Japan. I was in Korea, really. That's where I was. And I took a step over into North Korea and stepped back real quick to say I broke the law. Let me ask you a question, Rick.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Jeff Hardy.
Yes.
What's going to happen to him?
If he could.
Third offense in Florida.
Yeah, I mean, there's legal ramifications to this. It's his third DUI in 10 years.
90 days, mandatory, I think.
Yeah, he's been suspended indefinitely without pay, and he ain't going to be back in an AEW ring until he goes through rehab, completes the whole process again. I mean, it's kind of, a rinse and repeat of what we've seen with Jeff, in the past. And I think the most important thing is can he get to a place where he's living healthy? I think the wrestling ring is the last place he needs to be right now. The road is the last place that he needs to be right now. And yeah, man, it's a bad situation. And I don't know if he'll wrestle again. I don't know if he needs to wrestle again. I don't know if that's the best thing for him. I don't know if the life is the best thing for him right now, but
well, I'll tell you right now,
that's just me as an outsider.
It's not. And he's going to get hurt wrestling because he's older and he can't do those moves anymore. Not necessarily him, the other guys. I still go back to that Darby Allin dive off the ladder.
Yeah.
It's a damn wonder Jeff didn't get knocked out or get hurt, separate his shoulder or something. Because
he
the
definitely
kid
got hurt.
He's got speed and he's got gravity behind him. So he's lucky he escaped without getting hurt. But he still could have got hurt. We don't know about it. He may not have said anything about it.
He was definitely hurt, like SP3 said, because if you watched him wrestle after that, I think he had 3, maybe 4 matches after that. He looked off in every single one of them. He was moving slow. He was obviously hurting something everywhere. And then they had the tag team match with the Young Bucks. And look, Matt and Nick and they had to carry the match for Jeff. Jeff was out of that match early. Matt said he got concussed. Who knows if that was a cover or anything like that? We'll take Matt at his word on that one. But yeah, he's not been right since that Darby Allin match. And then, yes, all of a sudden now he's drinking and under the influence and while he's in severe pain. And
this is what I fear for Jeff. He either hurts somebody else or he hurts himself, possibly kills himself. And if he stays on the drugs, he could OD. So there's very few, if any, positive outcomes of this. It's all negative. So unless he gets clean and he gets living a better lifestyle, we could wake up to news one day that we don't want to hear.
Yeah, and look, the fact that he's had so many DUIs at this point and been in so many situations where he has been that messed up, it is utterly miraculous that he has gotten to this point in his life without killing himself or others.
Okay, did you see the tape when they arrested him?
Yeah,
all three of them pulled the gun on him, and I read that that's almost customary because they don't know he was going so fast anyway. They don't know what he's got, so they were ready for him. But he got out; he could hardly stand up. It's embarrassing, really.
Yeah, multiple 911 calls, swerving all over the road. And that's my biggest thing, man.
9:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And
here's the thing: he was at an event with his brother, and they made sure that he was dropped off at his hotel before they caught a flight out. And then Jeff went out on his own after he was dropped off at his hotel and got into all this. So all you people who are hitting up, Rebby and Matt and saying they're enablers, like, let's get the damn facts straight before you do that. Again, we all have our demons. I can't judge a guy for that, but man, get a damn ride, man. Get an Uber, get something.
Seriously.
Clean yourself up, Jeff, please.
Just get off the road, please. That's all I ask. That's all I ask.
Last question, Ronald Kurz. Do you think that Jeff will get a second WWE Hall of Fame? Yeah, one day. I think he and Matt are going to be slam dunks, but it's going to be after their wrestling careers are long over. Just like Jericho, just like Moxley, just like Bryan Danielson. They'll all get in one day or another, maybe 10 years, 20 years down the line. But yes, I do think they will all get in. We are way over on time. We had a lot to get into today, guys, so sorry I wasn't as attentive to the chat as I normally am. Yes, as Paul brings up, happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. I keep forgetting that's on Sunday. I got a busy weekend ahead. I hope you guys have a fun, safe weekend. Welcome to my TED Talk. Get a ride. Have a safe weekend. And let's see what other news breaks. You know, by the time next Smack Talk rolls around, we could be talking about 3 other major stories and forget everything we talked about this week. You guys remember when, like, that Cody Rhodes injury was like, remember when we were talking about MJF and Cody Rhodes? Like that seems like 8 weeks ago, 8 months ago.
Yeah.
Still a decade ago.
That's old stuff.
CM Punk got injured too. After he won the AEW world title. People don't remember.
Remember when we thought Cody Rhodes jumping to WWE is going to be the biggest story of the year?
That aged well.
Yeah. It aged as well as what, SP3?
I didn't say that. You said that.
Breast milk out in the sun. Absolutely.
Yep.
Just like WWE burying Stephanie McMahon, our new interim CEO.
Hey.
But they didn't do a CEO contenders match. Like, what are they thinking?
Dude, wins and losses don't matter unless your name is Vince McMahon. Then wins and losses do matter. By the way, congratulations to Stephanie, by the way. I think that's, that's been vastly overlooked. This is a position she's been training for.
Okay, let me ask you, what's going to happen to Mr. Laurinaitis?
Oh, he's gone.
Yeah.
In my opinion, this is strictly my opinion. I'm not saying I received any inside information, but how it looks for me is that they glossed over John Laurinaitis in this release when they named Stephanie the interim CEO and chairperson. They didn't really mention John Laurinaitis, didn't mention anybody taking his spot as head of talent relations. I think once the investigation is over, he's out of here.
I think it might be before that. Somebody's going to be the fall guy for this early on. Somebody's going to be the fall guy for this early on, and then it's going to see how much does the board dig up. Personally, I hope Stephanie just completes the coup, takes over completely, dominates the company, puts somebody else in charge of the creative, and gives a call to Sasha Banks and, mends that relationship very, very, very quickly because they're going to regret losing her. That's my little bow on all of the big stories here today. Thank you guys for tuning in to Smack Talk, for SP3, for Dutch Mantell. Thank you for listening to all hour and 12 minutes of this 45-minute show. Enjoy your Father's Day weekend.